All right, here we go. Willie D, welcome back.
Thank you, man.
Usually we start off our show, with our, it's time to step on some motherfucking toes, but unfortunately there's more of a somber air right now. So we're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, my condolences for the passing of your group mate, Bushwick Bill.
Mm-hmm.
It really hit the hip-hop community out of the blue. I mean, we had heard about the announcement a little bit, but, you hear about cancer and you hear people beating it and you hear people fighting it for a number of years and so forth. Out of the blue, I saw a couple of posts from both you and Scarface that Bushwick Bill had died, and then there was a little bit of confusion, and then ultimately he ended up dying later that day. So, my condolences. You guys have some legendary projects together, some very dope songs, and overall it's a loss to hip hop.
Right on. Real talk, Bill was like, man, hey, he was a one of a kind, bro. Irreplaceable, can't front at all. His voice, his delivery, his presence. So you got to give it up for that.
Absolutely. And, I kind of want to take it through the timeline a little bit. We've had interviews where we talked about how the Ghetto Boys formed and everything else like that. But, seeing that there's a lot of attention right now on Bill and his life, I kind of want to cover some of that a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because originally, Bushwick Bill was never a rapper. He was never in the Ghetto Boys. He was just a guy that was hanging out in the studio with you guys, right?
Yeah, well, initially, Bill started, when he came into the fold, he was a dancer. He would open up, warm the crowd up before the first incarnation of the Ghetto Boys would come on stage. And so, he'd warm the crowd up, get it all amped, and he'd get on there and just be a fool with it. And they put him on the cover of the first album. So that was the world's first glimpse of him being like on an actual album cover. And then when we decided to switch everything up and go with a new lineup, Bill was just hanging out. He was hanging out in the studio and he was drinking a 40 ounce. And I saw him doing what he was doing. He was rapping Public Enemy's yes, the rhythm, the rebel, without a pause, I'm lowering my level. And I looked at him and I was like, yo, light come on. I say, man, let's put Bill in the group. Everybody started laughing. So I was like, see, that's what everybody else gonna do at first. Initially, that's what they're gonna do. But after they hear this dope ass gangster shit I write for them, they're gonna start respecting it. And that's exactly what happened. I took Bill to the kitchen. We sat at the breakfast table at the ranch, because we recorded the first album that me, Brad, and Bill did with Ready Red at Jay's Ranch. We had a makeshift studio above the garage. And I sat him down and asked him some questions about what it was like to live as Bushwick Bill. And I embellished it with what I thought it might be like to walk in his shoes. And I came up with Size Ain't Shit. 3 days later, he recorded it, and that's how he became a Ghetto Boy.
And he was a break dancer, I guess, in the beginning?
Bill was doing all of it. Break dancing, whatever. Like he could dance. He could really dance. Even our last show, the Tom Joyner Cruise, I believe we played that back in maybe March. I mean, he showed up and showed out. When I asked him about it, I said, man, you sure you up to this? He's like, nah, I'm feeling down, but I'll be okay once I get on stage. And shit, nobody could tell the difference once he got on stage. But as far as like the people that was there, me and Brad were the only ones who knew what was going on.
So you guys are recording the first Ghetto Boys album, and Size Ain't Shit ends up being the second song on the album, which is actually a solo record with just Bill.
Right.
And you wrote that for him?
Absolutely.
And what made that song so interesting is that, like, he took all the stereotypical kind of jokes that you would make about a little person and kind of like throw it back, he would throw it back in your face.
Yeah, that's the whole irony of it, man. That makes the best kind of rap songs, even movies. Like it's always cool when you got the underdog that say, yeah, I know what you think of me. Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you something. It ain't what you think. Like my whole life has been like, no matter what I face, especially when I'm dealing with detractors, my whole thing is to make sure that it don't turn out like you want it to turn out. Like, it ain't gonna turn out for you like you think it's gonna turn out if you go against me.
Because first of all, you've never seen a little person in rap really before or after.
Yeah.
So the fact that you had that, and it's not just him, he's part of a group, and it all just kind of fits together in this really interesting type of way. Like in that song, it's like, why you getting on your knees to fuck motherfucker like me still standing up. You just like, you picture it, it's like, okay, yeah, when we're fucking doggy style, we're on our knees, but he's actually gonna be standing up, like.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea was always for Bill to be like the comic relief, but at the same time, make sure that the lyrics maintained its integrity and made sure that they were fierce. So it was like it was nothing to play with. It's like, okay, yeah, we got some jokey joke going on right here, but at the same time, little man will bring you your hat. You dig? So so that was always the idea, to make sure at the end of the day, whether they laughed or whether they mourned or whether they became angry, whatever it was, at the end of the day, respect the lyrics, respect the MC, respect the words at the end of the day.
Yeah, and there was that one line, lifting weights will make you bigger.
But lift me, you be a dead ass nigga. Real talk. Yeah, I mean that's again, man, it's dudes out there who think because they're big that it's an automatic win. They think because they're big in stature, because they have a size advantage, that it's an automatic win. And oftentimes it don't turn out that way, especially when you run against the real. Like when you come up against the real, like size really ain't shit. In fact, the real kind of get off on chopping down giants. Like it's the dude that everybody else is afraid of. The real ain't got no problem like, taking that giant down because they don't know any other way. Like growing up for me, a lot of people thought I was like really like brave. I was more afraid than I was brave. I was afraid of losing. So that's why I fought so hard. And like where I come from, in Fifth Ward, man, if you lose anything, bro, you're gonna get reminded of it constantly. Like, they're not going to live it down. They're not gonna let you live it down. You get into a fight, get your ass whooped. You can be walking to the store with your buddy and he said, man, loan me $1. I ain't got it. Yeah, that's why they nigga whoop your ass. Huh? That's why you got your ass whooped last year. That's why Kenny whooped your ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not gonna let you live it down. Like, so that's why oftentimes if you fight somebody from there, you're gonna have to fight them more than once. Because whether it be out of pride or just the idea that they don't believe that you actually won, like you actually beat them, you're gonna have to fight again.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's also the line, I'm gonna take you, shake you, and break you down, and if you kick, I'm gonna pick up a stick.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like, yeah, he's little, so you could kick him. You have the advantage
Yeah.
of being tall and kicking him, but he's just gonna pick up a stick. Like,
And Bill would pick up a stick. Like, he ain't had no problem picking shit up, He ain't had no fucking problem picking up a stick, a gun, anything. So, if he shot his own eye, albeit it was accidental, still playing a game that dangerous, you can imagine what he might do to somebody else. So, you could never underestimate him.
during those early days, you guys are out doing shows, and when you're a gangster rapper,
Reality rapper.
reality rapper, right?
Yeah.
But you have a lot of bravado and toughness in your music. People are gonna want to test that.
Yeah.
You're going town to town, motherfucker. Oh, they gangster? Okay, let's see.
The only people that want to test that is suckers though. Like, cause real recognize real. And like real cats, they don't look forward to conflict unless it's shaped in vengeance. Because real cats know that conflict is costly. Even if I win, I still got to watch my back. I still, if you're lame, you're probably gonna try to sue. So there's always other things that come with that, even if you win. So real cats try to avoid conflict because they know at some point it's gonna be unavoidable, and you have to use your resources wisely. You can't just unload every time for every minor little incident, right? Now, the trick is for the suckers and the busters is that they got to figure out at what point are you going to snap? Like they don't know when you're going to snap. So they got to try to figure that out. You dig what I'm saying? So it's only the suckers and the busters that really try real cats, the kind of dudes that, and when I say suckers and busters, some of them are, they can fight, they might be killers or whatever. But it's the way that their brain is wired. Their brain is wired. They're like on some sucker shit, buster shit. The way their brain is wired is sucker buster shit. Like the cat that killed Nipsey. Even though he was a killer, he's still a sucker buster ass nigga, because his brain is wired like a sucker. You dig? So when your brain is wired like a sucker, you do sucker shit. Like a real cat would have never capped Nip. Because I know Nip and a whole lot of people out there can say the same thing. Nip would not put himself in a position for somebody to be that vicious toward him because he was a good guy. He was just overall a good guy, but at the same time, he was a stand-up guy.
Well, during those days, was there fights that would break out with the Ghetto Boys and various other people, and was Bill getting involved in those fights?
You mean like with strangers and stuff?
Yeah, like at shows.
Oh
whatever.
yeah. I've jumped off the stage from coast to coast whooping ass. I jump off the stage, jump into the audience, whoop a little ass, get back on stage and finish the show. Go out, money ain't right, rob the promoter. Hey, get on stage, finish the show. And when I say rob the promoter, I mean I'm really not like, it's not one of them situations where I'm just, where I was just trying to be careless or whatever. It's like, some of these dudes, they be on some sucker shit. That's why that movie Janky Promoters was so popular, because a lot of people can relate to these type of dudes who think that just because you're an artist that you'll accept an L. And so you go out, man, and you make this music and you do everything that you're supposed to do. You show up as agreed contractually. You're prepared to do your job. You get there, everybody does their job. The artist did their job, the management did their job, the promoters, the marketers did their job, the street promoters did their job, the fans did their job by coming there, and then the promoter get paid and try to sneak out the door with the bag. And that's what happened to us in Jackson, Mississippi. I believe that was like 91, yeah. And so I'm like, yo, we got to have that, bro. You ain't coming up out of this room till you get it. We need that bread. You know, so we did what we're supposed to do. Like, so the thing is, like, when you an artist, bro, when you become a celebrity, a public figure, some people just automatically take that as weak. And they think that they're gonna be able to ride on you and do whatever they want to do, be disrespectful or whatever, and think it's not gonna be any consequences. But there's always consequences.
So you mentioned that Bill would pick up a stick or another object. During those days, what's the craziest shit that you've seen Bill do?
The craziest shit? Oh man, there is no craziest shit with Bushwick. You know, he did a lot of craziest shit. Like that man, damn near every moment. If it was crazy, it could have qualified as the craziest moment each time, and there was a plethora of them. So I can't even begin to just say.
I mean, can you give me one example that stands out?
Shit, a few of the examples were just with me. You know what I'm saying? Me, the way our interactions, you know? The first time I met Bill, we were in this place, the club called the Rhinestone Wrangler, and in Houston. And he was a bus boy at the club. Jay, who y'all know as Jay Prince, he owned the club at the time. And Bill had this bus bucket, and well, I didn't see him at first. I was standing by the DJ booth with my boy, and we checking out the action on the dance floor, you know, trying to check out the ladies or whatever, you know? So I feel a thump, you know, like in the back of me, so I turn around, I don't see nobody. So I turn back, and my boy say, and he pointed at Bill. So I go up to him, say, hey, little Bushwick, man, you just, I said, man, you just bumped into me. You not gonna say excuse me? He did like, he had the bucket, he was like, get the fuck out of the way. And then started walking, just turned back and just kept walking like. So at that point, man, you know, I kicked the field goal. You dig what I'm saying? That was my first introduction, you know, to Bushwick Bill, you know, and we, you know, so it was almost, you know, that was a contentious moment that night, you know. And then another time I was on stage in the same club. I was on stage, I was opening up for Dana Dane, I believe. Was it Dana Dane? I think it was Dana Dane I was opening for. And I was doing my rap, and I all of a sudden I just heard somebody in the audience booing. Like, boo, everybody else rocking, you know, they rocking. And I just hear some booing. So I look out, I say, man, who the fuck is that? Point them out. So the crowd, they started pointing at Bill. So they started opening up and pointing at Bill. So I started ranking on Bill with the rap. And, you know, I just started going in real hard. So, I mean, that was it. But that ain't even the tip of the iceberg, bro. Like, I've seen Bill do a lot of things. I mean, when I say pick up a stick, Bill done pulled a gun on me before, man.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I did what I had to do, but he pulled that gun.
So Bill pulled out a gun, what, during an argument?
It started off as some tension, you know, like some going back and forth. So yeah, I guess it was a little argument. And I really don't like to really say argument, because it don't really last long with me when I talk. When I feel like we getting there, I kind of shut it down. You know, it's like, if it's going down, let's get it over with. And Bill, you know, he said something that was really disrespectful, and I took off. And then so after I took off on him, he scrambled and got his gun. You know, he grabbed a gun. He had like a gun like on a table or something. It was like a Derringer. Not like a Derringer, but it was a Derringer. You know, one of those 6-shooters. He pulled the gun, so, you know, tussling for the gun. And Jay was there, and Jay grabbed a gun, Like, man, y'all cut this shit out, man. What the fuck wrong? That kind of thing, you know. He would pull something on your ass. I mean, did not mind. He did not mind picking up something.
I mean, it's just so interesting to me how you get into an argument with someone, they pull out a gun on you with the possible intent of killing you, and y'all work it out and become cool afterwards. Like, it's a little bit mind-blowing to me. You know, yeah. I think most people would be like, all right, at the point you pull out a gun, you and I are not going to deal with each other anymore.
Yeah. You
guys continue to deal with each other.
And typically that's how it is. You know, that's how it is typically with me. Period. Ain't nobody else really can say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, for me, just like when Bill got into the group, I looked beyond the tension, the little spat, whatever, disagreement, whatever. So I'm looking like, man, I got my eye on this bag. Like, how we gonna get to this money? Let's get to this paper. And, you know, if I had done something to him at that moment, then this whole movement would have been halted way back then. He did. So yeah. You see, I'm not really like an emotional type dude. You know, I got emotions, but I'm not emotional. You know, I know how to compartmentalize situations so that I can move forward and obtain my goal.
When we had our first interview, you talked about the whole situation about how Bill lost his eye with the whole shooting incident.
I don't know exactly what happened to Bill, exactly how he got shot. Because Bill himself has said this story in different ways. So I don't really know exactly how he got shot. But I know once we got to that hospital, when he got shot, it was not about the group thing. It was about a brotherhood. It was a brother thing. When he got shot, first thing come to my mind, let me go check on my brother, make sure he's all right. So, and I'm thinking about doing something to the girl. Like, I know she didn't fuck with our homie like this, didn't do this to my homie. So we get to the hospital and we go up to see Bill. His eye gone, but you know, he's alive and he's conscious. So I have a little discussion with him. He's speaking, he's drowsy, you know, he's medicated. And I asked him, you know, are you all right, man? Yeah, I'm all right. And he was like, Will, please don't hurt her. Please don't hurt her. It was my fault. It's my fault.
What I didn't know until I started going through some other interviews was that Bill is the only person, I think, ever that has both a birth certificate and a death certificate. Because at the point that, you know, he got shot in the eye, they thought he was dead and literally put a toe tag on him and took him to the morgue. And he just woke up. Do you know about this story?
Well, that's what he say. You know, I don't know, bro, because I never seen. Have you seen a death certificate while Bill was alive? A death certificate of Bushwick Bill? I haven't seen it. So I don't know, bro. Like I was not there. You know, I was not there when he supposedly went to the morgue and they put him in the morgue and tagged him and came back through. I wasn't there, so I don't know. I ain't never talked to nobody who died. You know, so I don't know.
Yeah, man. The amount of crazy stories.
I'll put it like this. I'll put it like, I never talked to anybody that was dead. You see what I'm saying? Right. So I've never spoken to anyone who was dead before. Not that I know of.
At what point did Bill start having kids? Man, it was after he had joined the group, right?
I don't even know. Yeah, as far as I know, yeah, it was after, yeah. As far as I know.
Okay. And did you know his child's mother and the kids and everything?
I knew one of them. I never wasn't tight like that, you know? Like we was really like business partners, you know? Like we was like business partners who didn't visit each other, like who didn't go to each other's houses. Our kids never played together. Bill, mom was a great lady. I really loved that woman. She was a good woman. She was a really, really nice lady. So I went to her funeral and to pay my respects to her because, like I say, she was a great lady. And so is it. So is his dad. His dad is a real, real good dude. But I don't know his kids like that. I've seen them around a few times, but as far as like just know them, I don't know them like that.
Okay. Are his kids little as well, or are they regular?
No, they're not dwarfs.
Oh, they're not.
Yeah, they short, but they're not dwarfs.
Oh, okay. So they're shorter, but not. They don't have the same condition that he has.
Right.
Okay. Were his parents dwarfs or any of his siblings?
Nope.
Okay, so he was the only one.
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember there was the MC Search story, and he told it a few times, but most recently he told it on my platform. He went into a lot of detail. I mean, he described the whole situation.
We go inside, and I meet Bill's baby mama's mom. And she's mad hard, like she's like ice grilling me the whole time. And when we came into the house, it was the kitchen, and I'm seeing like a triple beam over here and all of this, and she's sitting there, and I look over in the corner, and there's some, let's just say, artillery. So there was a bay window on this side, and I turn around the bay window, and lined up underneath the bay window were these kilos of coke. So I turn to Bill, and Bill turns to me. He goes, "Yeah, my baby mama's mom she's the coke queen of New Orleans." I was like, "Yeah, can I go wait in the car? Is that cool with you? I need to get the fuck up out of here." We get to Peaches. Bill's lick it up. His brothers lick it up. His girl. Band is rocking. Comedians are funny. We're dancing, having a good time. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. He and I get on. We start freestyling, having a blast. But our buses are taking off to go from Baton Rouge to Arkansas. They're leaving at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we can't find Bill's brother. And then I finally find him, and he's kicking it to these 2 girls. We get in the limo, and as we get in the limo, Bill's brother goes, "Hey, Serge, yo, could you just like roll with me over to this Burger King? These girls want to meet you, and I'm gonna roll out with them, but like one of the girls thinks you're really cute and yada yada yada." And I'm like, "Yo, nah." He's like, yeah, no worries. We get to the light, and Bill's brother's telling Bill like, "Yo, can you just drop me off at Burger King so I can meet these chicks, right?" And Bill just, for some reason, starts spazzing out. They get out the limo, and Bill's brother is just pleading with him. And Bill is spazzing out on him. "Yo, I brought you out here. I fed you, yada, yada," just beefing. And I look out the window, and I see the Burger King is right over there. So I get out of the limo, and I come around the back. Bill says, "Fuck you," grabs a brick, and throws it at his brother and hits him right in the head.
Like, this whole situation it sounds unreal, but when you heard the story, you were just not surprised at all. You thought this was just another day in the life of Bushwick Bill.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. That story right there is, that's a good wild story, but shit, Bill probably had at least a couple thousand of those in a lifetime. That was normal to him.
Well, in that story, he gets in an argument with his brother, and he hits his brother in the head with a brick.
I believe Chris. His brother Chris is like, I think Chris probably about 6'4" or 5" or something. He really tall. And Bill used to get into it with Chris all the time. Chris a good dude. He was a good dude. As far as I know, I ain't never really had a problem with him.
Here's Bushwick Bill. Before you guys bring him into the group, he's a busboy at a restaurant. And, he's doing some dancing and stuff like that.
Nightclub.
Yeah, at a club. Sorry, my bad. He's a busboy at a nightclub, and he's doing some dancing and stuff like that, but he's a relatively unknown person. And suddenly, as he's on the cover, he starts being on the cover of one album, but then on the main Ghetto Boys album, he's actually on the cover and he's on damn near every song. So now he's Bushwick Bill, the rap star. What did you see change in Bill once he started to achieve a certain amount of fame and, more money and so forth? Do you think that really changed his mentality and insecurity of being born like this, or not so much?
See, I think that I really think that it's just the money just magnifies who you are. And I think, that's who Bill was. He's as long as I've known Bill, he's always had an insecurity, a major insecurity with his size. And I ain't gonna front. I mean, I probably would too. I ain't gonna lie. I have an insecurity with that too. I have a problem with that, but I'm the type of person that I can make adjustments, and I know how to accept things for what they are. And if I can't change something, I don't allow it to torment me. And I don't allow it to make me make irrational decisions that could harm me or the people that I say I love. Now, that's the way I'm built. But Bill never could get over that, and it wasn't just in the music, it was in everyday life. He would constantly remind people about his size. One of his favorite sayings was, "I'm too short to take shorts." He would always remind you of stuff like that. So he wore that chip on his shoulder, and it weighed heavily on his entire life, at least the time that I knew him, and I knew him for 31 years.
Well, the incident where his eye got shot out involved liquor, I believe. You said that he was drinking like Everclear. How much of a problem did Bill have with drugs and alcohol?
It was a problem throughout his life. And I wasn't around him every single day or even every month. But whenever I was around him over that time, no matter how long the gaps were, it was a problem. It was always a problem. Sometimes he would be okay, and you'd be like, damn, okay, Bill good, he cool. You straight, everything good. I mean, he cool, everything real cool. And shoot, man, he mess around and get a little sip or something, whatever he would do, go in that room, come out, bam. Something totally different, bro. Like somebody totally different. It's like totally different. So that was the thing. You never knew what Bill you was gonna get.
Did he ever try to get rehab, or did he ever try to clean himself up?
I'm not sure, cause I'm not sure about that.
Was it drug use as well? Was it like cocaine or other drugs?
I'm not gonna get into all of that, but I could just tell you that, he had a problem with drugs and alcohol.
Okay. So you guys have a number of albums together. And then at one point, you guys stopped dropping new albums. You described the relationship as more of a business relationship the whole time, but once you guys stopped dropping albums together, did you guys just start to drift apart completely and just would get together for shows?
Absolutely. We would just, it would be just shows only. Like, it's time to do a show, let's link up, find out, okay, what's Bill's number? Okay, it's like, all right, let's get him on the phone. Boom, you want to do this show? Boom, we go get paid, and then we out of here. I mean, like, the goal, just to keep it a buck, for me personally, was to spend as little time around Bushwick Bill as possible. Okay. I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro, because all this faking and shit people be doing, though, I can't do it, bro. I know fans don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear that, and I do respect the fans. That's the only reason why I even spoke on Bill's diagnosis in the first place. I did it for the fans. Like, I was like, I know that they was asking me a bunch of questions. They flooded my inbox Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. People hit me up online, email, text. They want to know. So I felt as a member of the group to do it on behalf of the fans, because the fans deserve it. If not for the fans, we're not having this discussion about Bushwick Bill. Shit, I'm probably not even here talking to you, because it took all three of us to do what we did, so yeah, I'm probably not even here having this conversation. So I got to give it up. I got to give it up to the fans, and I hate to put this idea in people's head that don't know. A lot of fans know though, because they've heard me do interviews through the years. They've heard Bill do interviews through the years. Bill himself said, if I need something, I wouldn't call Will or Brad. You dig what I'm saying? And vice versa. We wouldn't call Bill. That's just how it is. That's the truth.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've briefly met, Bill, backstage at that Beats by Dre party where I think me and you, met for the first time. But me and you maintain a relationship. Me and Scarface maintain a relationship. Me and Bill, we tried to set up interviews over the years. It would never happen. It would always be some sort of dramatic fail at the end, which would prevent the interview from happening. Mm-hmm. And, my talks with Scarface in terms of his relationship with Bill is somewhat similar to your point of view. It seemed like the two of you guys, just had problems dealing with him the whole time. It seemed like the two of you got, I'm not sure about the relationship between you and Scarface, but...
Oh, me and Brad, cool.
Yeah. It always seemed to me like you guys were cool.
We cool. We talk all the time. We strategize. It ain't no problems. It ain't like that. Like we've had disagreements in the past, but we ain't never, just had no blatant disrespect or nothing like that going on and all that stuff. And we're familiar with each other's kids. And so it's totally different.
Well, right, because at one point you actually left the group,
mm-hmm.
and Big Mike kind of replaced you in the group. But Bushwick Bill still remained in the group as well as Scarface. And then you came back in the group again.
And then Bill left.
Oh, and Bill left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And shout out to Big Mike. I really thought he held it down.
He did. Big Mike was hell of a rapper. Well, still is.
Yeah. Yeah, he held it down. I thought that
Yeah.
album was great. What was the name of the album with Big Mike on it?
Till Death Do Us Part.
Till Death Do Us Part, exactly. You guys have, the collection of albums you guys put together, and you guys have your falling out and, your reconciliation and so forth, but the Ghetto Boys entity continued to stay afloat, and you guys would continue to do shows and spot dates and everything else like that. And then you hear about the announcement with Bill and cancer. And who made the initial announcement?
He did.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And how long did you know about the cancer before he actually announced it?
Since February.
Okay. Since February.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that, when, I actually made a video about it. I was like, hey, because everybody's hitting me up like, hey, what's going on? So I told them what I knew to have been going on. I wasn't trying to act like I knew intimate details and this, that, and, this happened and that. I was like, hey, man, yep. We've been knowing since February. We kept it to ourselves out of respect for his privacy, because that's on him to speak on that. So, I let my fans know, and I let his fans know, and our fans know what I knew as far as having at what point that I knew, and I talked briefly about the last time we performed together for the Tom Joyner cruise in Miami with Fort Lauderdale. And And I told him, Bill was in good spirits. He was sick. You could tell he was sick, but he was in good spirits. And he got on the show. He clowned. He acted a damn fool on that stage. He took care of his business. So next thing I know, I see an Instagram post. I get hit up with an Instagram post. Somebody shoot me an Instagram post. Look at this shit, man. Like, in fact, my son sent the Instagram post to me. My son was like, Dad, did you see this? So I'm looking at it. I say, oh, okay. So basically the post is saying shit like, basically implying that somehow me and Brad is trying to take advantage of Bill's cancer diagnosis, and we don't want to do a charity for him. We want to just go out and we some greedy motherfuckers. That was the language that was used. We're some greedy motherfuckers and such. So, and then saying, and then said something along the lines of clout chasing, like we clout chasing. That post that I put up had over 100,000 views in less than 24 hours. You know how analytics work, Vlad, you know what I'm saying? Them good numbers. Man, I went straight to that YouTube page and took that shit down, deleted it. Like, dude, deleted the Instagram post that had over 5,000 comments, deleted it. Dude, I don't need to clout chase shit. I ain't got to clout chase shit. You dig what I'm Willie motherfucking D. I got shit going on. I get some money without Ghetto Boys, been getting it. And if I had to rely on Ghetto Boys to get money, I wouldn't get no money because we haven't been able to really be consistent, because of shit like that, people acting irrational, like not people, I mean, just straight what it is, man, Bill, that shit cost us, in being able to be out there and go out there and do these shows consistently, so, for me, it's always been about, it's about the fans, but at the same time, when we start talking about self-preservation, I'm not going to let anybody stop me from getting what's mine and what's for my kids, Kane and Blake. You know what I'm saying? That's everything. You did? So I ain't finna let nobody stop that. But, I really felt like it was blatantly disrespected. Cause bro, me and Brad ain't never did nothing but help Bill get money. And see Bill's son, had a lot to do with that post. Cause I know, as far as I know, I think he run that post. Either his son or his daughter or both. I don't know. But I know, he knew what was going on cause he with his daddy a lot. He always with his daddy. So, I looked at that, man, and, I hate to feel some kind of way like that toward, the homie's son. You dig what I'm saying? Like, that's his son. You dig? And, like, that ain't even on my level, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fucking OG. That ain't nothing for me to, I don't even, that shit beneath me, bro. Like, I'm way on some other, like, I'm out here in the fucking moon somewhere. So, for me to, for somebody to look at me in my face and shit and, call me and smile in my face and all that type of shit and then, co-sign something like that. I get it from Bill. Bill fucking irrational. He's always been irrational. But to see, for other people to co-sign that type of shit, that ain't cool. Like, when you have in life, two damn fools can't hang out together. Something bad gonna happen. You see, somebody gotta have some sense. You cannot have two people rolling together, two or more people rolling together, and everybody damn fools. Somebody in that bunch got to have some damn sense. Or things are gonna go awry, and somebody gonna end up getting hurt. I mean, that's just that's life. You dig?
When you first found out about the cancer diagnosis, how did you feel about that whole situation?
When I first found out, it was like, I just was not surprised. Because I felt like, to be honest, bro, I thought Bill would have killed himself 20 years ago. 20, 25 years ago. I mean, like, he just did so much damage to his body. And he was really, really reckless. Like, he really, really, like, did not care. Like, he would jump off of cliffs. He'd jump out of a moving car. He fucking, fight the police, pull a gun, like, whatever. And the drugs and the alcohol. Like, I seen him do a lot of damage personally. Now, this is some shit that I know about. I ain't got to, like, get this from nobody. I seen with my own eyes. I remember being at the bar. We went out one time. We didn't go out often, but me and him went out once to my club. And we came to the bar and I got him some drinks. And as soon as he dude put the drinks on the counter, on the bar, boom! I swear to God, dog, I looked this way. I was talking to this girl. Bill was right here. I'm here, the girl's here. I turned this way and said, what you want, won't. Then I look back and I look back over and this other guy that was standing behind, on the other side of Bill he said, do it again. The drink was gone, dog. It was a tall glass. It was gone. Like, the whole drink he was a boom. Like, damn. Doing it like that? Like, it wasn't a shot. You know what I'm saying? But that was Bushwick Bill, bro.
How would women react to Bill? Because regardless of your size, you're still a man and you still are attracted to women and so forth. And when you think of men and women being famous and having the appearance of having money changes the dynamics. So would Bill be, and I've been on tour before as a DJ. I know what it's like with girls and groupies and the such. Was Bill messing with a lot of girls along the way? Were girls attracted to him or not so much?
Everybody was messing with a lot of girls along the way. I mean, that's the life of a rock star. You rap star, whatever you want to call it, but that's the life. Especially when you're at the height of your career. That's the life. So he ain't have no problem pulling girls.
Okay.
Bushwick Bill.
You and I have had lots of conversations offline about business, about finance, about money. You've always struck me as someone who's been financially sound for a long time. You make good business decisions. Your money's always been right. All the conversations I've ever had with Scarface, same type of thing. Scarface's money's fine, he's financially responsible, and so forth. What you do know about Bill's financial situation up to the time of his death? Was he okay financially, or was he continuously blowing his money and kind of struggling along the way?
Well, I don't know what kind of money he was getting to blow, because we wasn't doing any shows. Ghetto Boys was not doing any shows. So I don't really know. I know that me and Brad wrote those lyrics, so I know it was not any mechanical royalties coming in on that. Maybe he had some performance royalties due, but the real bread on the mechanical side, I know that wasn't coming. So I really don't know. I do know that it was a problem because he was talking about going out doing a charity tour, and that was one of the things that ran him hot, was that we didn't want to just go out and just do all these, free shows. The thing about Ghetto Boys is that, a Ghetto Boys tour is that, like, we can go out and get that money and give a fast show and get people something for their money. You dig? And make it worth everybody's time. Like, we don't, doing one show is maybe one thing, but going out doing a whole series of charity shows, I'm up straight up with you, dude. I ain't finna do that for St. Jude's. I'm just not finna do it. You dig? I got shit to do. I got businesses to run. I got people counting on me. And You know, that's a lot of energy. It's a lot of time.
Prior to his passing, I guess that there was an official kind of reunion and a tour that was planned, right?
Right, right. So here go the deal, bro. So on that tour, you know, we was like, okay, let's put together some quick runs right quick so we can go get a bag, you know, and when you're going out there and getting your own money, you don't have a ceiling. You can get as much as you want. You ain't gotta be waiting on the fans to give you nothing, you know. You can just go out there and get your own bread. So we like, let's go get it. So next thing I know, everything going good. Next thing I know, shit, managers calling, publicists texting members of the group, making threats about fucking media and going to the media with this and that or whatever. I'm like, who is these motherfuckers? This is our shit. This Ghetto Boy, we run this shit. Don't nobody run this shit but us. Don't no fucking managers run Ghetto Boys. It's our shit. You dig? No fucking agents run Ghetto Boys. No publicists run Ghetto Boys. You know, no siblings, offsprings, fucking mama, daddy, whatever. This our shit. So when you started doing that, it was like he just was making shit difficult. And so Brad was like, man, fuck it, I'm out. Brad said I'm out. I couldn't blame him because I was worn out by that time. So I hit up Bill, told Bill, look, Brad pulling out. So when he say that, and this is the 4 days, this don't have nothing to do with stuff down the line. This was just the first those four dates. So Brad was like pulling out, so I say he pulling out. So next thing I know, I see a TMZ report. Bushwick Bill says he's pulling out of the tour because he don't like the name of the tour, and the organizers are trying to take advantage of his cancer diagnosis. I'm like, what organizers? Like, shit, you know, we're the ones who running the show. It's our shit. We the organizers. So what organizers are you talking about? I know you can't be talking about our agent. You know what I'm saying? Because he talking day to day with the agent, and the agent is really, really trying to make the shit work and like adhere to his demands, because he got these demands and the agents just want to make the shit work. And he's like, he wants to change the name of the tour because he don't like the name of the tour. And he don't like the name of the tour. That's his biggest contention. He don't like the name of the tour. We called the tour The Beginning of a Long Goodbye. He wanted to name the tour Fuck Cancer. This Ghetto Boys, bro, we don't do regular shit. Ghetto Boys do unorthodox shit. We're unique, always have been. We don't do run-of-the-mill shit. We don't come up with run-of-the-mill titles. We don't do run-of-the-mill songs. We make people think. We go deep. And so when we heard, okay, so this is his problem, you know, he got to hang up with the name of the tour. So I meet up with Bill. Well, I didn't meet up with him. Let me back up. I see Bill at the New Kids on the Block concert. And Naughty is there because they're one of the opening acts. So we're backstage in Naughty dressing room, Naughty by Nature. I said, Bill, let me holler at you. Bill is there with his son. We walk into the bathroom, start talking, man to man, we talking. The conversation is like this. As soon as we get in the room, as soon as we get in the dressing room, I'm at the bathroom. It's this big ass bathroom. Let me make sure I paint this picture clear because I don't want y'all to think we in the bathroom with one toilet and two men. but it's like stalls and shit. So it's a big bathroom with several stalls and big old glass and all that shit. So it's space. We walk in. We sit down. We're standing up. I'm leaning against the vanity, and Bill's standing there, and he was like, I just don't like the name of the tour. That's the first thing come out of his mouth. I just don't like the name of the tour. You know, it's like you writing me off. Y'all writing me off. And I'm like, okay, Bill, the name of the tour is The Beginning of a Long Goodbye. We talked about doing a farewell tour before Bill was diagnosed. We talked about this at the end of the year. So this was already on our radar, doing a farewell tour. So this is a great title for a farewell tour. And so I explained to him, I said, listen, man, it's a farewell for all of us. It's the beginning of a long goodbye for all of us. It's not about somebody dying or, you dying. It's about all of us. But he was dead set on, in his mind, that this whole thing was about him and him only. It's always been about the group. We never try to make, no matter what was going on with the group, we try to make sure that nothing was ever about one member in the group. It was always Ghetto Boys, first and foremost. So when I explained that to him, he said, oh, I get it. He told me this, bro, out of his mouth. So I said, well, man, can we agree that if we have a problem with each other, me, you, Brad, if I have a problem with you, or you got a problem with me, or Brad, or anything, can we agree that we won't go to the media first, or go send managers and PR agents and publicists? I mean, publicists, PR agents, but managers and PR agents and agents. I said, can we agree to that? I put an addendum on it. I say, because them motherfuckers don't run shit. None of them run shit. This our shit. So all of that tough talking that they doing and whatever they say don't mean shit. Because everybody got lawyers, okay? So, that don't mean shit. So he like, cool. He agreed. The man shook my hand and leaned in for a hug. He leaned in for the hug. Leaned in for the hug. And I was like, boom. Walked out the room. It wasn't even an hour later. He on the phone with the reporter from Houston asking to come on the news so he can talk about the Ghetto Boys and what he don't like about the name. Like the news reporter is going to somehow convince us to change the fucking name of the tour or something. This is the type of shit that we dealing with. And, the fans won't understand it because some fans won't understand. I mean, some fans, most fans will get it, but some won't get it because they shook right now. So they won't get it. But the thing is that it was more than just, some people say, well, man, just let them have it, man. Let them call it whatever you want, man. The man dying, just call it to it whatever you want to. The thing about it is that we've never done regular shit. So in the event that Bill die, we still got a brand to protect, right? No matter what, it's still Ghetto Boys, and it's Ghetto Boys for life, okay? We can't be stopped, no matter what. Like, we're going to do shows in the future, me and Brad, we're going to do some shit in the future, all right? It's still Ghetto Boys for life. So, Bill went on the show, and the first thing came out of his mouth, the reporter, Isaiah Carey, asked him something totally unrelated to the answer that he gave. He just blurted out the first thing, I just have a problem with the name of the tour. Like, where is this shit coming from, bro? This is the type of shit that we have to deal with. And this is something, it's an old saying that the truth hurts. See, some people can get emotional. You can get emotional because you just don't like somebody, whatever. That's fine. But I'm going to hit your ass with some facts and some real life shit, what's really happening. So you can get mad and be all emotional about something, but it's going to be hard to deny what the facts is. What the facts are, what the truth is. And that's all I got for you is some truth. You know what I'm saying? And, if you want something other than that, all I got for your ass is some pain. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't, like, again, that's the way I see it, bro. Like, it's just, it's Ghetto Boys, man. It's Ghetto Boys for life, and we're not going to compromise our brand for nothing. The name Fuck Cancer is so generic. That name is generic. It's been used 1 million times already for all kind of things, like concerts, parties, coming outs, all kind of shit I've seen it used for. So it's generic, and plus it's limited in scope. If you try to do merchandise and stuff like that, some people are not going to want to wear a shirt like that. And there's certain places that you're not going to even be able to wear a shirt like that, no matter how you spell it. You're not going to be able to go into certain airports and stuff, or you just make yourself a target. So it was limited in scope. We didn't think it was a good name, so that's why we were set on not doing it. That's why we didn't want to do it that way. But anything within reason, man, we was always cool with something within reason. But we can't just start like, just doing stuff any kind of way and being reckless, just because, we're in the middle of a crisis. It's the idea in life is no matter what's going on in your life, man, don't panic.
Well, fast forward to June 9th. And early that morning, both you and Scarface made some Instagram posts saying rest in peace.
I did.
Oh, it was just Scarface? Okay, my mistake. I follow both of you guys on Instagram, so.
Yeah, I just put up a post showing our pictures.
Okay.
I put up a post that said, we can't be stopped. This is Ghetto Boys for life. That's what I posted.
Okay. Well, Scarface puts up a post.
Yeah.
That said rest in peace, Bushwick Bill. Something of that sort.
Yeah.
So me as a media outlet, I'm like, okay, well this is definitely
So
a credible source here.
Yeah.
This is Scarface of the Ghetto Boys saying his group mate had passed. We go and run the story.
Right.
And then, it starts to trend on Twitter. Everyone else starts to pick it up as well. And then Bushwick Bill's official Instagram page did a post saying, this is not true. Bill is still alive. And I think it came from like his daughter or something like that.
I don't know who running it, but it's one of them.
Right. And they put out the story saying, no, Bill is still fighting for his life, and all these fake news media outlets and so forth. And people are attacking me at this point. I'm getting nasty DMs saying, fake news, fuck VladTV, he's not dead and so forth.
But did they say fuck everybody else, though? Because everybody else ran it, too. Everybody else ran it, too. Wikipedia ran it.
Right.
Okay? Wikipedia ran it. Did they say fuck Wikipedia? Did they say fuck CBS News, NBC, ABC? Did they say fuck CNN?
Yeah.
Did they say fuck all these other outlets? You dig what I'm saying? Everybody ran it. Every blogger, everybody ran it.
Right. Well, then, that post got put up. And then a few hours later into the evening, I got word that he really did pass. Mm-hmm. And nobody disputed that fact at that point. Mm-hmm. And now, on this day, it's established that he really did pass. Why was there this level of discrepancy and so forth at that point? Do you know?
I don't know exactly, but from what I understand, from the secondhand knowledge that I got from inside source who talked to his daddy. His daddy said that he was informed that Bill organs were shutting down. And they wanted his family to get to the hospital as soon as possible. They had talked about inducing a coma, putting him under, basically allowing him to live artificially until his family could be there, get there, and say their goodbyes. That's why it came out the way it came out. And that's one of the problems with the internet. Like if there's no internet, social media, then the story gets a chance to progress, like everybody else's did, pre-internet. But because of the advent of the internet, as soon as somebody hears that it's over, somebody hear that and they can hear it the wrong way and they just automatically think that, okay, it's over. But, to be honest, bro, to be completely honest, the man was dead, okay? So we can say whatever, say different things and all that, but that man was gone, bro. If you have no activity and your organs are shutting down, bro, it's over. So, but I guess officially, he was not dead, but technically he was dead. And so right. Brad, what he did, it wasn't erroneous. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do it out of any malicious. He wasn't being malicious. You dig what I'm saying? The man was saying R.I.P. How you gonna ride on somebody like that says R.I.P. That says R.I.P. Like if that's what it is, if he know, a person coming from a good place. I could see if somebody was trying to be, disrespectful or just putting anything out there. You dig? I could see something along those lines, but nah, it wasn't cool. Yeah, it wasn't cool to try to come at somebody like that. I ain't like that shit,
Well, Bill ultimately passes later that night, officially. I guess they finally take him off of life support, essentially, and just let him, let him naturally pass away. You and Bill had your differences. You had a lot of success together. He was an important part of the Ghetto Boys. But, you also had a lot of bad moments with him. His funeral hasn't happened yet. Are you planning on attending the funeral?
No.
You're not. Is Scarface planning on attending?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, why are you choosing not to attend?
See, when somebody have a funeral, man, it's like this. I feel like it's disingenuous for somebody to come to your funeral who you don't like. Bill didn't like me. I ain't like Bill. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth. This ain't no phony shit. I know that everybody want to hear some politically correct shit and all that, and but that's the truth, bro. The truth is the truth. And so, I know that if Bill had his choice, Bill probably see me walking up there like, get that motherfucker out of here. Get him out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel, like the energy is not right, bro. Like, and I don't need nobody looking upside my head and shit like I did something. Like I fucking caused him to die or something, like looking at me like I did some shit, Like, no, I don't think that's I don't think that I would be welcome. It's the same thing like when Reddy Red died. Me and Red was cool for a long time. But like the last year and a half of Red life, we didn't speak. And that's because Red was bitter. He was still mad at, how things went down with the Ghetto Boys, and we wouldn't let him back in the group, after he walked away. You see? So, he wanted to come back in the group after he walked away and basically abandoned the group. And then Damo steps in, and he's the most consistent member in the group. He's our DJ now, and he's consistent. He's on his game at all times. 100% reliable. For the last 20 years, but when Red first started trying to get it back in the group, it was like after a year or so. And then so every year or two, Red would make a strong, he would make a strong move to try to get back in the group. It's like, man, we can't do that, man. We can't just cut this man out of the group after he's, done what we asked him to do. He did what you was unwilling to do. So same thing. We couldn't have a situation like that, bro. We couldn't have another situation like that.
Well, listen, man, I think that's real. When somebody dies, a lot of their faults seem to disappear in people's minds.
Yeah.
A person gets put on a pedestal and they get made to appear perfect.
Well, let me go back right quick and let me wrap up on Ready Red, right? With Red, I didn't want to come to the funeral because I felt like I would have brought bad energy. Anybody that you got a problem with, if they come to your funeral, somebody that really, really love you and care for you, they may see you as the enemy. Like, they don't know what transpired between y'all. All they know is that he had a problem with you, so I got a problem with you. And I'm grieving, I'm suffering right now, and I see you, somebody he had a problem with, because I want to make everything right for him now that he's gone. I want to make everything right. And I want to make sure I do everything he would want. And, Reddy Red would probably want somebody to kick my ass. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't feel welcome at Red's funeral. I felt like if Red could raise up out of that casket and look around and say, you're not supposed to be here, you go. I feel like I'd be one of the ones he said you can't be here. So I don't feel, and I would do the same thing. I would not feel if I had went first. I wouldn't want Bill to come to my funeral because I would think the energy would be off. I got certain family members I don't want at my funeral, and I've already directed my children to make sure they don't show up. And if they do show up, put them in a squad car. I ain't bullshitting because I don't want the negative energy. I live my life by a certain standard, by a certain code. And in death, nobody's going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, the truth is the truth and the real is the real. And you have the right to say exactly how you feel. Your history in that group is always going to be cemented. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. Regardless of the personal relationship and all the ups and downs, what you guys created is timeless, is going to live beyond the deaths of all three of you.
That's true, and I respect that. I respect that. I respect what we did. We did some amazing things. We made history together, and for that, Bushwick Bill, Willie D, Scarface is going to forever be synonymous with one another, and we're going to be joined at the hip forever, even after our demise. We're going to always be together like that. But, at the end of the day, dude, you can't front I can't front. I'm not going to sit up here in front, act like, we're this close and that, this or whatever. I'm not going to do that because, I read another post that, one of Bill kids said something like they got you, they shooting these little covert slugs and shit, like they got y'all thinking that they really care, they love him and da 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 da. I don't think I ever came across like that, bro. I ain't never came across like no shit like that, like I always been 100 and I've always told what it was, and everything that I'm saying right now, like anything that I've ever said, I've been able to say it to his face. I said, man, I say whatever I feel to anybody's face. Like, hey, because I just feel like it's disingenuous to not. And I feel like if I didn't, I wouldn't even address some of the shit that I addressed right here, right now. But, you know, if a motherfucker shooting at you, at some point you got to shoot back or you dead. You know, if a motherfucker gonna keep swinging on you and you ain't swinging back, they gonna swing on you anyway, right? So, see, what happens is person get bolder and bolder, you know, the more they get away with. So if you don't never swing back, it just emboldens them. It continues to embolden them. So out of respect for the fans and really just because I got real shit to do, I'm doing major shit, little petty ass shit, you know, I just be like, hey, get the fuck out of here, you know, petty shit, you know, like I don't even be paying attention to little petty shit, you know. So, but when you start talking about Ghetto Boys and start trying to shit on the name and the brand and start trying to question my integrity, then I got a problem with that, and then that's got to be addressed. Because like I say, if you're gonna end up getting in a fight, somebody want to fight you, and they're gonna swing on you anyway, you might as well get a few licks in yourself. You dig? So for me, this ain't really about me trying to come on and put nobody on blast. What I'm basic for me is basically about you know, responding to, you know, some of the slugs that's been shot my way, you know, and at my group and at my fellow band member. You dig what I'm saying?
You know, one bright ray of sunlight in all this darkness that's happened recently in the Ghetto Boys is that Scarface actually announced that he's running for Houston City Council, which I think is really dope. And it really caused me to kind of take a step back and say, man, imagine if all these rappers across the country with with how many fans they have, their social media presence, the amount of marketing behind them, the amount of influence they have, if they stepped in and started doing what Scarface is doing and taking over local government, because that's really where the changes are being made. You know, you're not going to feel what Donald Trump is doing for many years. You're not going to feel what happens on the state level for a long time. But on a local level, you could pass a law and make a change, and you'll feel that, you know, a couple weeks from now.
It's funny, man. I thought about that yesterday. I thought about the exact same thing. I said to myself, this will probably usher in a lot of new candidates who come from the hip hop world, you know, and artists, you know. So, and they would have a lot of juice, a lot of influence. And I think a lot of them, especially the ones who are conscious, are going to get something done because they really do care about the people. You know, like some of these cats would just be clowns. I mean, they clowns in their music, they clowns in their interviews, and they'll be a clown in city council. You know, they'll be up in City Hall clowning on some stupid shit, wearing dresses and all kind of stupid shit. So those type of dudes, yeah, they're useless. But the cats who have their pulse on the community, who are servants to the community, to the people, who care about the people, I think they would be invaluable. And I think some of them are going to see what's going on, and they're going to realize that, you know what, I can do this at the same time. Because a lot of people that run for city council, they run for city council because they don't have the brand, you know, they don't have the name or whatever. So they're going for that, and they're going for that power and influence. But we already have that. We already have the brand, the power, the influence, and the money. You see? So in many cases, if rappers actually ran, it would be a slam dunk.
Oh yeah, I mean, who's gonna run against Scarface? Like, you know what I mean? In Houston.
Oh,
he got
about 14 opponents.
Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Yeah. I mean, just the name recognition alone it's just ridiculous. I don't know anybody in, you know, I have apartments in New York and LA, and I don't know anybody who's in city council. I couldn't name a single person. But I bet you if, like, you know, Kendrick Lamar ran for city council, you know what I mean? Like, think about just the turnout that would happen. It would just be ridiculous. It would almost be unfair.
Yeah.
It would almost be unfair. So, bravo to Scarface, you know, Brad Jordan for doing this. As soon as I saw it on his Instagram page, I instantly put it on my website and put it on my Instagram and pushed it hard myself. Because, you know, we have a fan base in Houston as well. So I wanted everyone that may not have been following him to know about that. And like I said, when you look at this country, when you look at historically the disadvantaged groups that have taken themselves out of that situation did that through public office. You know, at one point, the Irish were the underclass in America. You know, there were signs on businesses' doors that said no Irish need apply. So they said, okay, we're gonna start taking over the police force. You know, and like the stereotypical, you know, Sergeant O'Nally, that's because so many Irish in New York started putting themselves in police chief situations that they started just taking over the police and then started taking over other public offices. And now, you know, they managed to pull themselves up from their bootstraps. And now the Irish is no longer considered an underclass. So I think it's great what Scarface is doing. I applaud it. I personally called him to let him know that. You know, we're pushing it ourselves. And I really hope that everyone who sees this, all the rappers, young, old, whatever, think about what you're doing and think about where you put your energy. Because your energy really would be very, you know, profitable in terms of the community and the help to the community doing something like running for city council and winning on top of that.
Absolutely.
You know, since last time we had an interview, we lost Nipsey Hussle. And, you know, there was so much sadness. You know, me living in LA at the time, you really felt the hurt and the pain of that situation. And the fact that he opened up, you know, he died at his business, which he opened up in his own hood on Crenshaw and Slauson, made it so much more painful. And in the way that he died by someone that he knew and so forth. When you saw that whole situation unfold the way it did, how did you feel?
I was heartbroken, man. That was my boy.
So you knew Nipsey?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys kept in contact?
Yeah. We didn't talk all the time, but, you know, I called him periodically, hit me up, you know. He one of the dudes that, like, who was, like, the more he shined, the more shine he got, the more accessible he was. Like, he didn't dial it back. Like, he didn't get brand new. Like, some of these dudes I know, I've been in the game for a minute, so I've seen dudes rise, like, from a pup, you know, to the highest level, right? And some of these dudes, when they get on to certain levels and stuff, you know, the phone numbers change. They don't call you, pass the number on, and you got to see them at a concert or something, you know, before you run into him. Nip was like accessible. If I call him and he missed the call, he'll call me back. What's up, OG? That was Nip. So I was heartbroken, like, cause when I saw the headline, it said rapper gunned down. Like, I think it said like top rapper. That's what it said. Top rapper gunned down. I'm thinking like this top rapper is probably another one of these little youngsters out here, right? Like, and Nip was young, but he wasn't as young as some of these little 21-year-olds, you know? I'm thinking one of these like 17, 18, 21 something. And then I saw Nip face, and man, my heart, I just had the worst feeling ever. And I couldn't sleep. I stayed up probably 36 hours after he got killed. long. It could probably be, it probably was longer than that. I just couldn't believe it, man. That somebody would. I couldn't believe that Nip would get killed, like tragically get killed, like somebody would murder Nipsey Hussle, because he was not that type of dude that would do something so egregious to make somebody want to murder him. So if it's true what they say that happened, that dude actually said, then that lets you know how much of a sucker he was, because that ain't shit. Especially if you're a snitch, you're a snitch. And if you ain't no snitch, I mean, is that really a death sentence? Like, well, let's catch this fade, nigga. Yeah, nigga, catch this fade and then go tell that. You dig what I'm saying? So I couldn't. It was just hard to wrap my head around that Nip said somebody would murder Nipsey Hussle. He was really, really a good guy. He was a dude that we talk about. See, all these people that you always hearing stuff about what we need to do to get our shit together and get these people off our ass, and how we need to stick together and rally together and buy black and get into ownership, employ our own people, stop waiting on somebody else to do it, be a good father, family man, good brother. He was doing all of that, and he still got killed. You see? But that shouldn't deter anybody else from saying, man, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. You shouldn't ever feel that way. I do believe Nipsey's situation was an oddity. I mean, when's the last time somebody that big, was killed at their own place of business? You know what I'm saying? That's in the hood. It really don't happen. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing really just don't happen. So if anything, it should inspire other people that's in a position, or people that's trying to get there. It should inspire them and make them more determined to reinvest and buy the hood back.
Yeah, man. And recently we reported that Mozzie, Sacramento rapper that we've interviewed before, he bought an apartment complex. And me and him have had conversations about finances before. I'm not a real estate guy. I'm a stock guy. So I was telling him some of the, he was wondering about stocks. So I told him about that. He decided to go the property route instead. And that's great. Everyone has their own things that they want to invest in. But the fact that he was investing, and you see hip hop investing more, is so important, because I can tell you for a fact that there is a lot of people that are way more popular than I am, that are household names, that we'll go out together and everyone's crowding to them and taking pictures and they have no idea who I am. But financially, we are not at the same level. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because of ownership.
Yeah.
I have a degree of ownership that they do not have.
Yeah.
They don't own very much. They don't own their masters. They rely on show money. They don't own their publishing. They don't have assets that grow on their own. They have to rely on them working in order to make an income. And ownership is the difference, long term, between being well off financially or continuing to struggle.
Yeah. Well, some people don't want to really get into anything that has long-term ramifications, because they are even long-term benefits, because they're short-sighted and they got that hood mentality, that quick lick mentality. That's why dice is so exciting for a lot of cats from the hood. We play dice. We want that instant gratification, and like even if you're on a bad streak and you're losing money, you be so fed up with like it going back and forth or whatever. You'd be like, man, you know what? Fuck this shit all in. Like you man, we win or lose, goddammit, win or lose, I gotta get it. You know what I'm saying? We got that mentality, that quick, get it, hit that lick. And that's a bad idea, because I think I told you before that my kid's mama told me to purchase a McDonald's when I first started getting money, And I was like, man, McDonald's, shit, man, I ain't finna be going to Beaumont, Texas, sitting up in some damn restaurant, learning the business for 6 months and trying to learn all the aspects of running a McDonald's. Man, I ain't 6 months, man, I'm getting money. I'm getting this money right now. I'm not finna just go and freeze my money for 6 months. I'm gonna invest a bunch of money and I ain't gonna make no money for 6 months. At least 6 months just for training purposes. We're actually going to be longer than that before I could actually see some money, because first you do your 6 months training, then you got to get your restaurant, all this. I mean, I'm like, man, you got to build out. I don't want to do that. I couldn't see it because I was thinking 6 months to do training, and then it's probably going to be another 6 months to a year before I start seeing any money. I'm like, that's too long. And it's something totally different now. So once you realize, when you get the information, you get armed with information, you make wiser decisions. Like now I know that it takes the average millionaire 20 years to become a millionaire. We want to become a millionaire overnight, and that's why many of us never get there, or we get killed. We actually get killed. We don't get rich, we get killed trying. Most of the time, we get killed trying, not rich trying. So once you learn that, then you have more patience, and when it's not happening, and when you see everybody having it or whatever, you can kind of pace yourself better when you're armed with the information that it really takes to get you to where you're trying to go. But I wasn't armed with that information. I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, man, I didn't start seeing real money until my 40s.
Yeah.
After being self-employed in various industries for 20 years. So I could 100% co-sign.
So there you go. There you go, right there,
There you go. I had all different, from recruiting agencies to, I started a company that sold scrambled phones. Being a mixtape DJ to doing documentaries to, doing DVDs to all different types of shit, until one day I stumbled onto the VladTV concept and shit. That's 11 years running now.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're one of the biggest in the game.
Yeah. And there's lots of people that came up after me, like No Jumper and Say Cheese TV, who, when I've had conversations with them, they looked at the Vlad TV blueprint and made their own, spin on it, and they're all doing great.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a while. It takes a while, and it's a long-term play, but you don't want to be in your 40s and 50s and 60s broke.
Right.
You don't. You absolutely do not. These are the years that you want to be able to say, okay, I wake up every morning, do what I want to do.
Right.
Doing something that I'm passionate about. And the money's already coming, and I have a financial base.
Mm-hmm.
The Central Park 5 movie came out recently, When They See Us. Did you watch it?
I did. I watched it last night.
Okay. Well, I actually interviewed 2 of the members from Central Park 5 two years ago.
I saw it.
You saw it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking that's probably where they got the idea to do this movie, because no one was talking about the Central Park 5 for decades until we did that interview. But I'm glad they did it. I'm very glad they did it. But it's such a, it sounds like a fictional story.
It don't sound like a fictional story if you're black. If you're black, we're used to this type of shit. This is what they do. This is what they do to black people. This is what they do to black men, black boys. They have a mentality like black boys are expendable. So that I like to say, boys will be boys unless they're black. People, that's what people say, It's like boys will be boys. So it's like, when white boys do something, it's like, oh, okay, it's just boys, just doing juvenile things, and let's just, let's give him a break. We don't want to ruin his life, We don't want to ruin his life. He's just a kid. When it's a black boy, it's like, lock that nigga up, throw away the key, just like the rest of them. And that's the mentality. And, those prosecutors who were involved, the prosecutor, the investigators that was involved in that case, those motherfuckers are as evil as they come. None of them, not one of them has apologized for what they did to those boys, destroying their lives. Not one of them apologized, and not one of them has spent 1 second in prison for what they did. And all of them are still standing by their initial responses to this and saying that these guys are guilty. Even after seeing the evidence, well, they're guilty. Well, maybe they just because we don't have DNA on them, just because she don't remember seeing any of them, just because we have no evidence doesn't mean they wasn't there. That's their excuse. So this stuff happens all the time, and I can guarantee you right now, it may not be a Central Park 5, but I bet you it's a Sweeney Park 5 somewhere, or a Colfax Park 3, or 1, all over this country. This stuff happens all the time, and there are a number of cases out there that we just don't know about that are happening in small towns, a lot of times in big cities. But when they happen in a small town, they can hide it a lot more, and this stuff never gets a chance to make its way through the media, and people's lives are getting ruined all over this country every day because you have these wicked bastards in office all over the United States of America, and they operate with impunity.
Well, yeah, I mean, the way I look at certain things is like this. There are certain, if you look at a career criminal, sometimes they don't get busted for, they don't.
For the crime that they're being accused of. They're getting
So
busted for what they did before and got away with.
Right, yeah. When you have a career criminal, they sometimes go to prison for something they didn't do, but they've done so much along the way that you say, well, you did so much other stuff that it is what it is. Like I interviewed Freeway Ricky's a regular guest on the show. He got set up for a drug deal at the end that, he wasn't really involved in, but he had done so much drug dealing along the way that even he admitted that, I went to prison for, it's relatively justified what I went to prison for. But I interviewed these two guys, and these were not career criminals. They were good kids, no criminal records. They thought that the police were their friends. That's how they were raised.
But
they had no problems with the police.
But that's my point. The police don't care about black boys like that. You see how they pulled up on Tamir Rice and killed him within seconds. They don't see black boys as human beings. They see them as targets, period. They just targets. And so they don't have any compassion when it comes to interacting with black boys. They are vicious, and they treat black boys like, not even like men, but they'll treat them like fucking animals. I won't even say animals because they treat animals better in many cases. Some of the shit that they do, the black boys, they wouldn't even try no shit like that with an animal. But that's this so-called justice system that we live in. And it needs to be dismantled. And that's why it's important to have people like Scarface running for city council. It's important to have people like Adia Jones running for district attorney. This stuff is important, man. And on that local level, you said a mouthful. Get involved on local level, because that's where it goes down at. You don't want to be the person, like I hear a lot of people say, man, it's politics, it's all the same, man, da-da-da. So let me ask you something. Would you rather have a say-so or no-so? You see? Because I'm just the kind of person, I want to have something to say about how I live my life. Like what goes on. Like I want to be able to call the mayor or the city councilman or the DA or whoever. I want to be able to call, hey man, this was going on. Let me know what y'all trying to do over here. What's happening over here? What's going on with this? Oh, y'all trying to put a freeway up here? Oh, hell no. I need to know about what's going on, man. Y'all got to holler at me. You got to call Willie D before y'all go do that. You ain't gonna be able to just do whatever you want to do around me. I'm gonna have to have some say so. But some people, they don't care enough to have some say so in their in their lifestyle in terms of how they move around on a day-to-day basis.
Being from Houston, you grew up in an area where country music was a big force, a big entity. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
So recently, Lil Nas X had the number one country song with Old Town Road.
Salute Nas. Salute Lil Nas.
Yep. And me and Lord Jamar, who's a regular on the show, we had this kind of interesting debate.
Salute Lord Jamar.
Yep.
Salute.
And because remember, initially, Old Town Road was taken off the country charts. And I said, well, you know something? I kind of agree with that. Because to me, it sounds like somewhat of a parody of a song. Here's a guy who didn't really have, wasn't really doing country music, was kind of doing, standard hip hop, and he creates a song with a bunch of stereotypical things about country artists, and it becomes a big hit. And my point was, well, if you had like a white country artist who did a rap song and did a bunch of stereotypical, references in that song, smoking blunts and whatever else, the way country people look at rappers, that I don't think hip hop would embrace them. And Lord Jamar said, really? You just described Post Malone.
You've described Post Malone right there. You just described Post Malone. The fuck are you talking about? The fuck are you talking about? Post Malone.
Let's take a look at Post Malone.
Post Malone used to do folk music, bro. Post Malone admittedly sits around with a guitar and comes up with his melodies on the fucking floor with him and his brother, and fucking that's where they come up with the shit. He was a folk singer who did everything that you're talking about right now. And I seen him up and down. Motherfuckers accepted him. Nobody stopped him from being on the fucking hip-hop charts. Nobody said nothing. He's making songs with 21 Savage, all of these motherfuckers. He does the same shit you talk, hip-hop references, drugs, all of that. The Beastie Boys did punk rock. Came in with all these fucking smoking crack, did all of that shit that you talking about. It's already been done by white people, and we let it happen. So you better get your fucking ass back on the hip-hop side and cut that bullshit out.
Okay, you know something? Bringing up those examples, I'm going to actually modify my stance. And I couldn't say a damn thing. I said, you are absolutely right. You just described Post Malone.
Well, the thing about it is that I can bet you $1 to a donut that if a country western artist, why am I saying country western? But if a country artist did a song, a hip hop song, anybody that if you got a dude with a country voice got on a song and rode on a hip hop beat and it was played on a hip hop station, they put it in the rap category and ain't nobody gonna say nothing about it. And it'll win a reward. It probably win Best Rap of the Year. But a lot of that got to do with the fact that hip hop is the hoe of the industry. Anybody can fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop, we don't protect our art. We don't protect it. So we let anybody come in and do anything. And country, although we started that shit, they took it over. And now that they're the gatekeepers, they decide who gets in and who gets out. They decide who they're gonna allow in and who they're gonna kick out of there. Even if you come in, they can kick you out. So it's a very controlled art form. And You know, that's why they have the type of power that they have, because you know they got gatekeepers with automatics at the fucking gate, and we ain't got no gatekeepers. The fucking gate wide open, bro. The gate wide open. They got fucking holes all up in the gates and shit. Holes dug under the gate. Somebody done cut the motherfucking gate all the way open. People just walking through the gate. Part of the gate knocked all the way down. Anybody can come into hip hop and get it, bro. So that's the big difference.
Yeah, and you know, Ghetto Boys were one of the first Southern rappers. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, we won it first. Groups,
You know,
yeah.
So you guys used. I mean, would you say that you guys, being geographically from the South, that you guys incorporated Southern music, you know, which is kind of blends into country music into your style in a certain level?
Well, all of this shit is Southern. You know, everything in the U.S. is Southern anyway. All that music come up from the bottom. It all rise. You know how they say cream rise to the top? All that stuff Southern influence. Every great artist you can think of, that music is Southern. It got a Southern influence. Think of one that don't.
I feel you.
Yeah, you know, so all of it come from down here anyway. You know, everybody, mamas and grandmamas and daddies and, you know, granddaddies and stuff, they all come from down here anyway. You know, so it was natural for us to embrace that sound when we started out. It was a very natural thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, but look, Post Malone is one of the biggest, you know, people call him a hip hop artist. He does songs with rappers. What he does could be considered hip hop to a certain degree. And he's winning, like on a massive level.
Yeah, he big time winning. I hit him up a couple of months ago when my son hit me up and said, "Dad, I want to go to see Post Malone in London." My son live in London. So it's like, all right. So Post and his manager graciously hooked him up, gave him the experience.
Yeah. And if you remember the way Post Malone came out, he had cornrows and gold teeth.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't rock those anymore. But that's how he came out. That's how the world was introduced to Post Malone and White Iverson and everything else like that. Was a very hip hop presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And hip hop let him right in, and now he's really one of the biggest hip hop artists on the planet.
Yeah.
You really can't deny it. His songs are constantly on the charts, and huge records, you know, soundtracks, huge collaborations, everything, man.
Yeah, he in the dough, man. He in the dough, and ain't nothing nobody can do about it.
Well, Willie D, man, always a pleasure. Ghetto Boys forever. Rest in peace, Bushwick Bill. And, you know, I love the fact that the Ghetto Boys are continuing to tour and going to continue to stay as a group with you and Scarface.
Man, this is Ghetto Boys for life. We can't be stopped. No more talk.
That's what it is. Peace.